All right, so this is kind of like a follow-up video to yesterday's video. If you remember, Andrew Schultz was talking a lot about Adderall, and it sounded like he just got off of it because he's talking about how much he misses it and wants to get back on it. And there's also a shortage right now, so maybe that has something to do with it. But yesterday on his subreddit, somebody posted this clip of him on his podcast probably a little over a year ago talking about his first time doing Adderall, and he sounds like he loves it. He's like, why are we not on this all the time? And he's like recommending that people take it, and his producer's like, that's probably not the best idea, like we shouldn't be saying this. But him and Akash, you know, they don't admit that they're taking it a lot, but it sounds like they're really into it. I mean, Schultz says he just took it at Burning Man, but in the podcast I talked about yesterday, he said he took it also during his Netflix special, and just the way he's talking about it sounds like he's been taking it quite often, like a lot of these comedians.
If he's on super Adderall, why the fuck we not on Adderall, bro?
Yo, I've heard Adderall is like the limitless drug.
Son, it's amazing. It's the best drug I've ever tried in my entire life. And I'm not saying that people should go do it. I'm sure it's really bad for you, but it's unbelievable.
It sounds like they should go do it.
You should.
No, you shouldn't do it.
You shouldn't do it, but you should if you have anything important to do. If you have anything of importance,
legit got into med
you
school.
should do it. No. If this is the only time I'll tell you to do a drug if you have something important to do outside of sex. But if you, because I'll definitely tell you to take Blue Chew for sex, but if you have something important to do, a test, a job, or you really need to concentrate, you need to get a lot of work done in a short amount of time, obviously Adderall, phenomenal.
I legit know kids who got into med school because of Adderall.
It's okay. It's okay. Alex is concerned about something. Listen, you got to get your doctor to prescribe it, obviously. You know what I mean? But if I was your doctor, I would prescribe the fuck out of that shit too, because that drug is absolutely amazing. I've only done it at Burning Man. Keep that in mind. I've only done it at Burning Man, okay?
Yeah, so I'm willing to bet he's probably done it more than once, and he just kind of says he only did it at Burning Man to make it seem like he's not addicted to it or something, even though there are people that are open about taking it, which I'll get to. But, you know, I wonder if he did this, like, just recently he started doing it, like, within the last year or two, or he did this since the beginning of his podcast, like, he's always been doing this. Like, maybe this is why the podcast started going downhill a little bit, because, like, people in the comments were pointing out, people on Adderall get pretty annoying, and Schultz on his podcast is pretty annoying. You know, I know he always kind of acted like this. I don't know, I was never really the biggest Schultz fan, so maybe people in the comments could let me know if they think he's changed at all, like, within the last 2 years, because the way he talks about it, it definitely sounds like he enjoys taking it, obviously, and he probably thinks like, oh, if I take this, it'll help my podcast, it'll help my career, it'll help me with comedy specials, which I'm sure it does, but then it gets to a point where you just get annoying, and then you're addicted to it, and you have to keep taking more and more, so in the end, it's not even worth it, you know, like I would never take that because I know I'd probably love it and want to keep doing it, so it's not even worth it. But I also found this clip of Schultz talking about doing coke for the first time, and it's like the same way he was describing Adderall, which I think they're pretty similar, so it makes sense, but it's like he never realized that drugs are fun, and that's why people do them. Like, the way he talks about it, it sounds like somebody who just tried it when they're in high school or college, and he even admits that. He's like, I sound like a 13-year-old here. He's like, cocaine is amazing, this is the greatest thing I've ever tried. It's like, all right, don't you think people know this?
I did coke, and that shit is phenomenal. Let me tell you something. I get Chris. That shit was fucking. I've never done coke. Who you gave me bump? No, Jamil.
No, it was Al. It was Al.
Sure.
But I was right next to you.
Jamil's coke.
It was Jamil's coke.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I had a few. I had 3 bumps. But the next day was fucking
brutal.
It was like every bit of motivation was sapped from me. Like I couldn't even like untie a sneaker. It was so and I was like, this is not worth it. But in the moment, cocaine does exactly what I'm saying right now. I'm gonna sound like a fucking 13-year-old, but it does exactly what you want to do for a party. I get why it's the most popular party drug. It gives you energy, excitement, and confidence in an instant. Like,
yeah, so I don't think there's anything worse than hearing somebody talk about their first experience with cocaine and how amazing it is. And it sounds like Schultz, you know, he's probably on one of those two. He probably takes Adderall because it seems like almost a safer way to take cocaine or something. I'm sure that's how a lot of people think of it. Because back in the day, comedians, entertainers, you know, bankers, college kids, they're all doing cocaine. But nowadays, it seems like they're all doing Adderall. Like Dave Portnoy, when he was on Joe's podcast, he was talking about how much he takes it. And at least he's open about it. He says he takes it pretty much every day. And he said he didn't want to take too much before the podcast because he knows he'd start interrupting and be too annoying, which sounds like Schultz's problem.
The Adderall is like someone did coke and they were a scientist and they're like, I can fix this.
Maybe, no, Adderall. I was warned even for this podcast. They're like, don't do too much Adderall. You'll talk too much. It's like, but I did a little.
How much do you do?
I've toned it down, but like, a 30 a day. If I have to think, it makes me feel like I can cure cancer.
Really?
Yeah, it makes me. I love it. Like, I don't get jittery. Like, at least I don't think I do. Coffee, Adderall, it gets the brain going. But I have tried to wean off of it because I don't want it not to work when I need it.
Right. So you want it to be a tool.
Yeah.
Well, we were just looking that up last night, and we were trying to figure out how many people are on Adderall, and there was 41 million prescriptions, I think, in 2020.
Yeah, so again, I don't think it's worth taking. I wouldn't recommend it because I'm sure at one point Dave was like, I'm just going to take this to help me with work for a little, then I'll get off of it. And then, Dave Portnoy is a bad example because I'm sure he was doing coke way before Adderall, so this might have helped him get off coke, so he's a bad example. But like Schultz, maybe, he's probably thinking like, I'm just going to do this to work on my Netflix special and help me with comedy. And then he just got addicted to it, and now it seems like he's probably having trouble getting off of it. And then there's also Brendan Schaub. He admitted to taking it, and he claims he quit now, but who knows. If you remember, Mark Harley actually leaked some of his messages where he's texting him about Adderall, and it sounds like he's taking it every day. Well, he admitted that. He admitted it on Joe's podcast, and I think he said he's taking 100 milligrams, it sounded like, that is not good. And he said he's even going on the deep web to buy it at one point. And Joe, he was laughing in the beginning, but then when Brendan brought up that he's buying it online, on the deep web, he's like, geez, let's not talk about that right now.
I just got off Adderall. I got a problem. What's next?
Bro, what's next? You know how many fucking people are on Adderall? We were looking at it the other day. It's like 40+ million prescriptions in the country.
Dude, I
took
Adderall.
I didn't have a prescription.
I took 10 milligrams and I went, I'm on the plane texting like this, brrr, going, everything's amazing. I was like, this plane ride's fantastic.
How does it make
this
you
is
feel?
cocaine.
Does it just make you feel like you're on top of
You
the
ever
world?
done blow?
No.
Well, it's better than blow. How about that?
That's what Duncan says.
It's like a math.
And I did it. I did that, and I went, I'm not doing this anymore because this is cocaine, but better.
Well,
So
I went the opposite.
How much? What was the dose you were taking?
Oh, he was.
You don't have to tell me.
So
I see you with 5 nicotine patches in your mouth.
on.
How many do you have in your mouth right now?
Wait,
4 right now.
Joe, I did.
Do you know how crazy that is? I can't even keep one of them in my
The
mouth.
strongest bird, he's extreme.
I take a hit of a vape pen. I have to put it down for 5 minutes.
Bro, I was
got
taking
5 of these fucking
Bro,
things
I was
in your
taking
mouth.
3 30-milligram Adderalls a day for.
You take 10. You take 10. You're fucked.
That's a lot.
You take 10.
That's
you're
a
fucked.
lot. 20 is a
I'm
lot.
embarrassed.
But didn't Dave Portnoy say he'd take 30 when he
being
was
honest,
here?
Bubba.
He would take a 20, you said?
Oh,
Maybe?
okay.
I took 3 throughout the day. And if I had stand up, I'd take another.
What were you doing? How did you feel?
Like a rock star.
Did you have a lot of false confidence?
He also had 50 coffees.
What's the come down like?
I mean, what is it like? Do you think you can make lights you can't make? I got this.
Yeah. Hey, I miss it.
Yeah, I miss it. Dude, everybody I know that takes it says don't take it because it's just like you feel so on top of the world.
Did it make you horny?
No, not at all. But
Really?
the problem is
It kills your dick.
Yeah, but you don't eat, and then also
I had a boner.
I'd get off stage and I couldn't sleep.
Brian,
Like,
you get a boner when you hear birds chirp.
Yeah, that's not your problem. You do all right.
Birds are sexy.
I couldn't
Birds
sleep.
are sexy, dude. I like a beak.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep. Like my insomnia was
Sounds
nuts.
a lot like
Coke.
crystal meth.
Yeah,
Right.
it's real close.
You don't
It's
eat, you
amphetamine
can't
sauce.
sleep.
It's
Maximum
amphetamine
dose a day is 30 milligrams a day. You were tripling that.
Yes.
I do 90 to 120.
Oh my God.
I have
So
problems.
how did you get off of it?
Just stop doing it? I was like, oh, you got a problem. I stopped. I went cold turkey, and then
How long has it been?
About a
It's
day.
been
Couple days.
3 hours. No, it's probably been over 2 months now.
How long were you doing it for?
Over a year.
Oh my God.
I can
dude.
see it
Damn
on
near
his
every
face.
day.
Why'd you start?
Oh my God, over a
I like
year.
to party.
Did you go to a doctor? And,
I'll take it nights.
did you go to a doctor and they for
No, I was
psychiatric
buying
help?
it.
No, he doesn't
dark
go to the
web.
doctor.
Dark web.
Don't do that. Don't say it. Say that off air.
Why?
Because people
I'm
get
living my
Because
truth.
that's highly illegal.
living my truth.
I'm living my truth.
It's highly illegal.
I'm living my truth, Brian John.
But you know
I'm
what?
off of
Let me
it
just
now.
tell you guys.
Yeah, so I feel like Brendan has to be exaggerating there. Taking 100 milligrams a day to none, like just cutting it out completely, I feel like you go through a serious withdrawal. But also, this is after he fired Mark, so maybe he was struggling to find him, and maybe that's why he went on the deep web. But also, I doubt Brendan could even figure out how to use the deep web. Maybe he told somebody to get him or something. Like, there's no way he actually went on there. So also, if you remember from my Owen Benjamin video, towards the end, I played some clips of Joe Rogan talking about him after they're falling out and everything. But he's talking about how he knows a bunch of people on Adderall. And he's like, I know this one guy who completely lost his mind. He thinks everyone's against him, and he's cracked out on Adderall making YouTube videos.
You become someone who is on stimulants all the time. And I know several people that have an issue. I know one guy has completely lost his fucking mind, thinks everybody's against him, thinks that everyone's done him wrong, and he's just out there cracked out in the middle of nowhere on fucking Adderall every day and making YouTube videos. And there's a lot of people like that, man. There's a lot of people like that. It is a meth-like drug. It's very, 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 very similar to meth.
And then also there's speculation Chris D'Elia might be on it. I know he says he doesn't take any drugs or anything, but, you know, some people with prescription drugs, sometimes they don't even consider that drugs. They'll be like, oh, a doctor prescribed it to me, it's fine. But I don't know, the way he acts sometimes, it feels like he's on something. But yeah, these comedians, they gotta be careful out there with the addies and the baddies. That shit'll get the best of you and get you in trouble. All right, so that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments on Patreon. And hit the like button on Patreon, and I'll catch you at the next video.